Hi, it's Amy and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be scrapbooking with Rosie's Studio Bay Fair collection. Let's get started. As I get started, I want to mention that I am part of Rosie's Studio Creative Club, and as part of that they have sent me this product to create with. So I want to thank Rosie's Studio for that. You see my paper choices right now on here. This is my nephew Jimmy. He's my godson, and he is wearing this cute little navy outfit to play at the splash pad, and it has some red accents on it. So I thought the navy and red papers would be absolutely perfect for this, plus bringing in the water element with the sailboats. The other paper that I used to mat actually has, it looks like china vases on it. They're white and blue. And I think the fact that it's just showing a narrow piece for the mat, they just look kind of like shapes and not china vases. So I have cut those strips into 3 inches by 9 inches, and I'm going to fishtail them. I had another paper out there with black dots on it to use as a background, and I decided it was too busy, so I just switched it out with a plain piece of white cardstock. To fishtail these, I am going to mark the center point on each and then mark 1 inch up. That lets me cut from corner to that 1 inch mark to make matching fishtail banners for each of these, which makes it so incredibly easy. I go ahead and distress the edges of all of these fishtail banners as well. But first I have to figure out what order I want them in. And I decide to go with the pink, then the red in the middle, and the navy on the bottom. Because to me, this is the lightest color to the heaviest color. And so it's weighted properly, at least to my eye. I have discovered I am really bad at distressing edges. It's not something I do very often because it makes a lot of little paper messes, and that kind of drives me a little crazy. So I kind of avoid it, but I realized when I'm distressing these, I am so hard on the paper's getting crumpled. So I decided to go ahead and embrace that, and you're going to see in just a moment when I'm done with this blue, blue piece of paper that I go ahead and just crumple up all of the papers on purpose. So does that make it look weird? No, because I go ahead and I flatten it out with my finger. It adds a little bit of shadow dimension texture in there that you can see, but it also looks intentional because all of them are like that together. Here I am trying to shuffle these around again. It took me a while to decide how to go, and I realized I forgot to distress part of the edge of that red one. So here I am crumpling it. But once you get the adhesive on and glue it down, it actually looks really good, and it's something I think I want to do more of. Having the distressed edges plus the crumple paper kind of gives it a rough and tumbled look, which I think is perfect for my godson. So I'm trying to center this as closely as I can as possible. You see I use the grid on my mat to help with that. I want to get these as evenly spaced as I can. I'm also not going to worry about measuring it. I eyeball it. It's close enough for me. And you can see some of the texture just in the shadows there. I'm going to use some 2mm foam now to put on the back of my photo. This is so it doesn't lay directly on the distressed paper. I find that when I do that, the photo itself gets bumpy, which is not a look that I particularly enjoy, but putting it up on foam kind of evens everything out. Now it's the part that I really enjoy, and that is choosing the embellishments to add. I always pull way, way more than what I'm going to need, and that is because I really want to have options available to me as I scrap. I don't want everything because that's way too much, that's overwhelm, but I want enough. So I never hesitate to pull more than I think I need, and I don't mind sticking it back on the adhesive backing or back in the package. It doesn't bother me. Go ahead and pull a lot of fishtail banners because I was thinking about doing like a corner, like hanging banner type thing, but end up nixing that idea. So you won't see those being used again. I pull a lot of navy, blue, red, and pink. There's some yellow and green in here, which I avoid since that's not in my layout at all. And I pull a lot of circles. I didn't realize it at the time. I was almost done with the embellishing when I realized, wow, I have a lot of circles in here. And so I end up leaning into that a little later on. These are the banners. I'm counting them to see how many I have that are not in the green. And I don't go with these stickers, with the banner stickers at all. And I only pull 2 of the stickers off. This is where I put in the title. These titles are not from Bayfair. They are from Brand New Day, which is another collection by Rosie Studio. I couldn't resist the title You Are My Sunshine, though. It was just too cute. It is made up of two fonts. There is a block font and then a script part. So You Are My is in block, and then Sunshine is in like a handwritten cursive font. Trying to decide where to put it, if it should be on the side, above, below, and I decide below. I'm going to put the block font You Are My all on top of the photo. That will help link the part that's on the photo with what's not on the photo, and it brings them together to make one cohesive unit. So the word sunshine is broken up into two parts. I didn't realize that when I pulled it off. I was a little surprised, and I was like, oh, whoa, whoa, I just tore it. No, I didn't tear it. That was intentional. But I nestle it so that the S and the H for the title kind of form that corner, and I nestle the corner of the photo into it. Now it's time to start placing the embellishments. And I love that navy oval. I end up not using it though. I wanted, because the navy is so, like I said earlier, it's heavy. It carries a lot of weight. I wanted to make sure I included navy in every single embellishment. I loved the G is for growing, that flower that I have right by the title. I end up not using that one, although there is a smaller scale one on the chipboard sheet, which I almost decided to pull and end up not going for it. I'm opening up the rest of my embellishments because this is the first time I have used this collection, and I am loving it. I cannot wait. There's a couple more photos I have from summer escapades that I think I'm going to use. One thing I want to note about the chipboard for Rosie Studio is that it's very thin chipboard. If you are, like I said earlier, if you're not one that likes to add a lot of bulk, this chipboard is great. I am pulling off a red floral photo frame, and I am backing it with some more of that navy paper. That lets me use it as the base for the cluster. I used to struggle with having chipboard frames, but once I started backing it with matching paper, all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is just a flat embellishment. I can do this. I don't know why it was so hard for me to kind of wrap my brain around that. I tucked one of the stickers in. It's a little sailboat sticker that looks like it's on a postage stamp. Tuck that into the corner of the frame, almost like it's another photo tucked into the frame. This little bit that I'm adding underneath the frame says just perfect. Again, it's got that navy that I want to pull in. Let's see, what am I doing here? Oh, the chipboard. So this is another chipboard piece. I pulled in, because the navy is already on that banner at the bottom, I don't want to pull in any more navy. So I work on focusing pulling in pinks and reds. And I do really well with the pinks. And then I'm like, wait, I need red. And luckily, those buttons come to my rescue. The tag here, I'm going to do a little bit of journaling on. And I'm using a tag, y'all. You know me, I don't use tags, but I am using a tag, but it needs to have something through that hole in the top. So I just grabbed some red and white baker's twine and tied a little bow, trimmed it down, and it is perfect. And I think it adds another, again, I'm using the word texture a lot. It adds a nice little bit of texture in there. And I put it in there. You're going to see me pull this tag back up in just a moment because I put it in and then I realized the bottom part is hanging out from underneath the photo. I'm like, that was not a good job at tucking. Don't know where my head was at for that one. I'm putting that pink flower up on foam so it can overlay part of the photo. That kind of grounds that embellishment cluster to the photo. If you'll notice, every embellishment cluster has stuff tucked in underneath or on top of the photo so that they are all grouped together. I also try to make sure that there is something in each cluster that is popped up on foam and stuff that is laying flat. So that way you've got that uniformity amongst the embellishments where there is definitely some that are different heights. This is where I start realizing there are a lot of circles, is when I add this last circle to that embellishment cluster, because it's only circles. And in fact, it's only going to be circles. And I kind of weighed on, do I want to do that? And I finally said, let's just go for the circle look. And I felt like it looks like bubbles of water. That's what it reminds me of. Let's see. I do my date stamp in navy. I almost stamped it in black and caught myself remembering that I had navy ink that I can do it. I always stamp in the bottom right corner of my layouts. I think that gives consistency and always lets me know where to look for a date. I will add dates in other places too, but that's where it always ends up. And then I'm finishing up with some Nouveau drops in Midnight Blue, and that's it. Let me know what you think. Thank you, Rosie Studio, for sending me these things, and I hope you guys all have a lovely day. Bye-bye.